guys, it's Hayley Bohan, the founder of Marketing on Purpose, and your host today. And with me today, I have a very, very special guest, Jen Mazer. Jen is the queen of manifestation, and Jen will be joining us in the Marketing and Mindset Mastermind, which is starting in January. So I wanted you guys to get to know her and find out a little bit more about what she's going to be doing with us and what she does on a regular basis. So hi and welcome, Jen. Thank you. It's great to have you. I actually have a great introduction for you. So I'm going to go ahead and introduce you. And then if you want to add anything later, but I think it's really important that everybody know how fabulous you actually are and how blessed we are to have you with us today. So Jen is the queen of manifestation, as I've said. She is the author of Manifesting Made Easy and the co-founder of the board game Sparked. From living rent-free in the East Coast Village for 10 years to having her artwork published in New York Times to starting a green school in Africa, she's always been able to dream up outrageous adventures and actually live them out. Jen is a sought-after transformational speaker and coach, teaching people how to manifest their dreams while making an impact on the world. You all know I love that. Her work's been featured in New York Times, Fast Company, New York Magazine, Real Simple, Cosmopolitan, Inc., Marie Claire, ABC, and so much more. So we are so happy and thankful to have you here. And that's like a lot of stuff. And you're so young. How does that even happen? How do you do that much and you're so young?
Be raised in an atmosphere where my parents valued me and I was a great artist, and they nurtured that for me growing up. And so I always had this ability to kind of visualize what I wanted before I actually manifested it. And so I think for all of us and everybody listening, your imagination is actually how you tap into your intuition. And so if you can actually imagine what you want, you're not only imagining and coming up with some crazy idea of what you want, but you are tuning in to what's actually going to happen for you. And it might sound crazy because people might think, you know, that's crazy to think that, but when you're coming up with what you want to manifest, you can imagine that, okay, I'm actually getting a download from the universe. Instead of thinking I want to be an author, you get the idea to write a book and you think, oh my God, I'm going to be an author. And you trust that. And from that place, it makes such a huge difference, because then you trust your decisions and you take action on things that maybe you wouldn't have taken action on if you didn't believe it was possible in the first place. So I think the first thing is to allow yourself to imagine and then trust what you're imagining. And so, I mean, there's so much more, you know, in terms of manifesting, but that's a really great place to start.
I love that. That's really great. So there might be some people watching, because this normally on my page, I mainly just talk about marketing. So this is a little bit outside for some people, but it's such an important part of my life and my journey. And you were the one who actually sparked that for me probably about 6 years ago. I remember I was like just scrolling Facebook, I think, and it popped up on my feed. I was like in a bubble bath, and I remember the exact moment. And I started kind of following you, and it really was transformational for me. And one of the things that happened was at that time, actually, it might not have been 6 years ago. It was probably 3.5, maybe 4 years ago. Mm-hmm. And at that time, I was working as a chief marketing officer for a tech company. I wasn't feeling really fulfilled, and I had this idea for this business that I have now, Marketing on Purpose. Didn't know the name, and I feel like I almost manifested the sequence of events that made it so that I actually got the push I needed to start.
I love that.
But I did it negatively. Like I was like, I want to start this, but it was more that I wanted to get out of what I was doing. So does it work that way? Can you control how, like what you, like if you think negative things, like I actually ended up getting laid off from that job, right? So, which was like the kick in the pants I needed to actually do what I wanted to do.
Right. Well, the contrast shows you what you do want. So don't be afraid of looking at what isn't working and what you don't want. I just led an hour-and-a-half webinar before this Facebook Live, reflecting on 2019 and kind of what we want, setting goals and intentions for 2020. And it's so good to look at what isn't working and, you know, what maybe didn't go so well, in order to then see, okay, what, you know, and what was I not so proud of, and also celebrating what is working and what did go so well and what you are proud of, but looking at what didn't go so well, because then you see, well, where's the opportunity for growth, or what's the lesson here? So the contrast shows you, okay, this is what I do want. So whatever it is at work that really wasn't working, maybe it was the people, they didn't respect you and honor you, they didn't appreciate your contribution, or your boss didn't understand you. So instead of being focused on that, you can be, you know, change the lens to, I want to work in a place where I'm appreciated and respected and honored for my contribution, right? And the same thing with marketing and our businesses. So it's like, what's not working with our marketing, right?
Yeah.
And people not finding us, to, well, then what's the opportunity here? What's the lesson? Nobody knows who I am. Okay, what do I want? Everybody to know who I am, for me to be the person who is known in my industry, you know, and respected, and all of that stuff. So don't be afraid of seeing what isn't working. And, you know, we hear about the law of attraction in terms of my thoughts create my reality, which is true, right? It comes from our thoughts, but it's not just the thought, or, you know, how I'm talking about it, but it's the feeling place, really. And that's just, you know, the language is how we're expressing, but how are we feeling about it from the inside? And it's okay to have negative feelings. Everyone, you know, you don't need to be positive all the time. In fact, you want your emotions to move through you. Because if we think about, you know, people these days talk about being in the flow, right? And if you're in the flow and you've got all these clients and things are working, well, to be in the flow means things are flowing. There's movement. And to be in the flow, it's also like this high vibrational place. So that's what it means to, you know, high vibe attracts my tribe. It's because you flow, there's vibration and movement. And so you want to feel your feelings, even if you think they're negative, because you want them to move through you. It's when you don't allow yourself to feel your feelings that you feel stuck, because you're not being honest with yourself about what you're truly feeling. So let yourself feel whatever it is, even if it's negative, get it out. And then you can bring in, how do I want to feel, you know, and I can choose to feel this way. And I'm not a victim of my circumstances. In fact, I'm a co-creator with the universe, and I'm in charge of my life, and I can choose to make a different decision. And even if I've had a bad situation happen, I can choose the way I want to react to that situation, and make it better.
Nice. So, let's talk about you for a second, because I want people to get to know you a little bit. What is the most outrageous thing that you have ever been able to manifest?
Well, I've manifested so many outrageous things. I think the reason my friends gave me the nickname Queen of Manifestation in the first place is I manifested living rent-free in Manhattan in the East Village for 10 years in an apartment that I renovated with a jacuzzi. I actually sold my apartment. I made a lot of money when I left. I mean, it was just an amazing situation. And how it came about, I think, is a teachable moment. I talk about it in my book, Manifesting Made Easy. But basically, I was living in the East Village. I was in college, in art school at the time at NYU. My parents were supporting me. I was very blessed to be supported by my parents. And I knew that once I graduated, they had told me, we're not going to be paying for your rent anymore. You're on your own. And so I was kind of gearing up for that. I was an art student, right? So I was like not really sure how I was going to make my money. And on my block, there was a purple building on my block in the East Village that I loved, and it was painted purple on the outside. And one day there was a woman outside the building, and she was sweeping, and we just started talking like neighbors do. And she told me that they had a theater in the building. They converted one of the apartments into a theater, and they put on concerts and plays in the theater. And she invited me to a play that she had put on and directed in a couple weeks. And when she was talking to me, she told me that they didn't pay any rent. And my ears lit up, my eyes lit up, you know, and I was like, oh my God, you don't pay rent, you know? And it was like the best block in the East Village. So I thought, oh my goodness, I definitely want to go to that play, and I want to see if there's an apartment available. So I went with that intention, and after the play was over, which by the way was a good play, I was surprised. It was really good. Then I talked to the people who were running the building and I said, is there an apartment available? And they said, yes, actually there's one apartment available, but it's only for someone who can make a website for the theater. This was way before there were website platforms like WordPress or anything. You had to know HTML.
Oh
And I was
my.
in art school and I didn't know, I'd never made a website before, but I was taking a computer science class. And so I thought I could figure this out. So I said, yes, I can make a website for the theater. It took me 2 weeks to come up with a website to like show that I could do it, any website. So I made a website in 2 weeks and I moved into the building. I lived there for 10 years and the rest is history. And the cool thing about this is that because I said yes, even though I didn't know what I was doing and I knew I could figure it out later, it actually led to a freelance career during college and a few years after college making websites.
Oh my word.
So I mean, I made websites for film festivals in New York, for like some of the top like vegan restaurants. I mean, I was just through my network, and it was
That's
great.
great.
So my point is, start before you're ready, and say yes to opportunities, and don't be afraid to ask for what you want, because you never know what's going to show up for you.
I love that. And I think that so many times, I know, like I have a DIY marketing group as
Mm,
well, of course, as Marketing on Purpose. And in the DIY marketing group, we talk every week about what are some of your wins and what some of your successes.
yeah.
Because, like, from my point of view, and I don't know what your thought is, that the more you dwell on like the great things
Mm,
that are happening and the more you celebrate those, the more of those will come.
yeah.
Is that something that you believe as well?
Yeah, totally. Gratitude expands. There's a great quote by my friend Lynn Twist, who wrote The Soul of Money. What you appreciate appreciates. And it's so true, because if manifestation starts with our focus, then it's shifting our focus to having rose-colored glasses, for our lives. And I have this thing where I kind of took from the song, "Get Down with OPP." Yeah,
Oh, yeah. I love that one.
I changed it to get to PPP, get down with PPP, because PPP is positive proof from your past. So if you don't believe you can do something, look to other places from your past where you have been able to manifest, something amazing or experience something amazing. And that way you can see, I am a powerful manifester. I do know how to do these things. And it's so helpful. And gratitude, just having a daily practice, right? Of what am I grateful for from today? You don't have to write it down. Writing it down is great. I naturally go there. Like, I just have that in my brain. I'm always a positive person and look for the good. But some people, it's really helpful to have that practice where you actually write it down. And it's not just
Mhm.
gratitude for what's showing up for you and the experiences that are coming in, but it's also, I'm proud of the way I showed up for myself, and write those things down. Like, maybe you didn't get the outcome that you were going for, but I'm proud of the way that I handled the situation, or the fact that I sent that email and made that big ask. I feel like those are things that are really great to write down in your gratitude journal as well, because then you're celebrating yourself and what you're doing, you're honoring yourself. And when you look for the good, instead of thinking about what am I going to post on social media or my marketing today, you're thinking about
Yeah,
what to write in my gratitude journal at the end of the day. And so you go throughout your day looking for the good, and it does shift the way you are and what shows up for you.
I love that. And I know a lot of business owners spend so much time thinking about, I don't have enough money, I don't have enough customers, I don't have, and instead of maybe shifting that, what would you say to them? Like, if that's kind of the way that they're going about their day, like, oh, woe is me, I'm gonna have to shut down my business, I can't pay my employees, I don't have consistent income. If those are the thoughts, how do you shift that?
One simple thing is shifting your I can'ts to how can I. It's such a simple language shift. So anytime you say, I can't do something, it's, well, how can I? Because there's always an answer. And even if you don't have the answer, you're opening up to the universe or whatever you believe, right? For some synchronicity or sign or friend or, mastermind buddy to give you the answer. But so, we can all complain about what's not working in our lives and in the world. Like, there's so many things that I could spend my whole day complaining, and watching the news and getting upset and aggravated. But that's in a victim role. Like, yes, we want to see what's not working. Like I talked about before, we want to look and see what's not working, but then I'm in a power position, right? And so what can I do about that? It's not, okay, complaining is just, complaining, but it's not going to get us anywhere. So, well, how can I, make this work? What is it that I want? Why do I want that? How will I feel when I have the thing I want? And how can I feel that way now? It's so simple. So you might not manifest the thing you want right now, but you can manifest how you feel now. And you want to feel secure and abundant. Well, how can I feel secure and abundant right now? What's the step that I can do? Right? I mean, there's so many ways of looking at goal setting as a business owner and marketing as well. Like really looking at how many clients do I want to have, or how many views do I want to have, or followers, X, Y, Z. What's my conversion rate? And you can set the intention for that. If it were to go really well, what would that look like? What would that do for me? How would having a flow of clients and a wait list feel? And
Right.
And also the thing is too, the same lens that I talked about with getting down with PPP, we can do that in our business. I mean, it's so simple, but like, how did I get my best clients? Okay, where did they come from? And how can I repeat that so that I can do those processes again to get more amazing, perfect clients, get those results and tell everybody about me? Do they come from a Facebook ad? Do they come from a referral? Do they come from my email? Maybe I should do that. Okay, and just start with whatever idea comes to mind and trust yourself and take action, and that's going to lead you to the next thing. Trust yourself.
Yeah, I love that. Trust yourself. I find that there's a lot of second guessing.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just have to do it.
Yeah.
You just have to go for it. Okay, so I have another question for you. So this mastermind's about removing barriers, removing blocks that are holding us back. So how do you identify things that are holding you back from manifesting?
Gosh, this is a whole process, but it doesn't have to be so crazy complicated, honestly. We all have limiting beliefs and things that are holding us back. And so the first thing is, don't be afraid to actually look at what they are, because we're grateful for our limiting beliefs. Limiting beliefs were there to serve as protection. So they were, there to keep you safe and in this comfortable place. And so I love talking about comfort, number one, because if we think about what we've been able to manifest in our lives and in our businesses, it's what we've allowed ourselves to believe is possible for ourselves. We're comfortable with what we have because it's what we know. So anything new that we want to experience is going to feel uncomfortable because it's new. And so a lot of people shy away when they first feel that discomfort and think something is wrong, when in fact, nothing is wrong at all. It just means you're about to experience something new, which is what you want. And so we want to move into discomfort and reframe things. A lot of times people come to me and they're complaining that this is so hard. And I say, it's not hard, it's just uncomfortable. And so that's a really good reframe for you guys. It's not hard, it's just uncomfortable. And I want that, right? So it's reframing that discomfort means I'm about to experience something new. So in terms of limiting beliefs, they were there to protect us so that if we go into that discomfort, we don't get hurt if something were to go wrong. And so we can be thankful for our limiting beliefs and yet choose to let them go, right? And allow more room for what we really do want. And limiting beliefs could come from ourselves, from our own past, from something that did go wrong where we messed something up and we're hard on ourselves about it. It could come from our teachers growing up, or our parents, or perhaps society that, us as women, or, women of color, or whatever, right? Like, you can't do this, or you can't be a working mom, and there's so many of those. So it's like, what's mine and what can I just get out of my head that's not mine at all, that's society's or from the past?
Yeah.
And what's true to me and what's true to me right now. And the one thing you can do is, if you find you have a limiting belief, like, I'm not worthy is one that's really common, or I'm a fraud, or whatever, I'm not good enough. It's okay, well, how am I worthy? Writing out, well, how am I good enough? Maybe I have enough expertise right now at the level that I'm at to attract the clients who I want to attract right now. And I know that as I continue, I'm going to move on and attract even better clients, and that sort of thing. But the other thing too is, allow yourself to move into the worst case scenario and then go back into the best case scenario. So it's a law of polarity, that both sides of the equation exist at the same time. And so again, you don't have to be positive all the time. You're not doing this exercise every day, but you're going to do it once where you just play out, okay, if this really does happen, if I lose everything,
Yeah.
then what? And then feel into it. Okay, well, actually, I could do this and this and this, and actually, it's not so bad. And then you go back to what if it all works out, right? What's the best case scenario? And you expand that. And if you play back and forth between best and worst case, just in one, like 10 minutes in one exercise, and you go back to the worst case, it doesn't resonate with you anymore. You start laughing. Like, it's like, that doesn't feel real because I know that's not going to happen. That was in my mind, my fear talking. And you start to really resonate with the best case. And that's the Sedona method. But it's so powerful in helping you with, those beliefs. Oh, and Amy just said imposter syndrome. Yeah, that's something that's really common. Imposter syndrome, where we're putting on a front, or we're feeling like, I have to pretend or do it all. There's so many different things, and a lot of successful people talk about imposter syndrome or feeling like a fraud. But the more that you honor yourself and trust yourself and take action on the things that you want to take action on, the more that goes away, because you just begin to trust yourself, and with small things, and then leading up to the bigger things. So
I love that. You're full of tips and everything. So I want to give people a chance to ask any questions if they have it. And while they're typing those questions in, do you have any easy manifestation practices that people could use in their own lives right now
yeah.
that you
So
could share?
yeah, the first, like I mentioned before, is gratitude. It's so simple. Everybody talks about it. It's become a buzz word, but it actually is so powerful. So it really shifts you, and it shifts your vibration. So if you aren't practicing gratitude, start with a gratitude journal and write 3 things you're grateful for from that day every day. It could be in the morning. It could be in the evening. There's absolutely no right or wrong. If you have a teacher who tells you have to do something this way, don't follow them, because the truth is it's all about how you feel about the practices that you're doing. So, I'm giving you some, but then you want to apply it in your life that it feels good for you. So,
And I was just going to ask, how much detail do you need? Do I do a bullet point? Do I write pages on it? So it's just kind of whatever feels good.
whatever feels good. I love detail. The universe loves detail. So that's a great question. Actually, don't worry about it.
Okay.
Don't be afraid to get specific. Like, it's not just like, I had a great day and I'm grateful for my meal and my home and my life, the end. Because that's not really shifting you when you're writing those things. That's lovely, don't get me wrong, that's like 101,
Yeah.
but if you start writing, what happens is you remember more and more to be grateful for. Like, when you actually start putting, that's why the practice of writing it with a pen is so powerful, because then you remember, oh my gosh, and I'm grateful for my assistant who did this for me today, and I'm grateful for my husband who cooked dinner and took out the trash, and my daughter who wrote me this note at school, and and oh my God, I'm so grateful for that email I got from that client who gave me an update on how awesome things are going, and that these people showed up for my webinar, and that I cleaned my room. But you remember, like, oh my God, like, I was just the other night, I think it was last night, like, falling asleep with my love. I was whispering in his ear, like, oh, I'm so grateful for this and this that you did today. And then I started saying things, and I was like, oh, and you did this and this and this. Like, I hadn't remembered something.
You're awesome.
Right. I think I was just thanking him for making dinner, or maybe like picking up our daughter from school. But then the more that I said, I was like, oh, actually, like, you just like replanted all of our plants. And, like, I was like, I forgot about that. And, like, put up the Christmas tree. And,
Wow. So when he does all that and you have gratitude for that, does that mean it's going to like amplify, that he's going to just keep doing more and more stuff?
Yeah, I feel like if you find yourself, especially in relationships, I know we're talking about marketing, but if you find yourself resentful, it could be for an assistant, or a team member. If you focus on gratitude, it shifts things. It really does. Because then you're not, finding the bad, and you're like, oh, actually, like, I'm so grateful for all these things that this person is doing, because we all mess up. My team too, like, they make mistakes, all the time, but I'm not, everybody does. It's not like they're, you know what I mean? Then it's like, oh God, they're so good at this. I'm so grateful for them. And so I think that's good advice, and for yourself too, because we judge ourselves more than we judge anybody else. And so that's why I said adding, statements there about what you're proud of, or proud of the way you showed up, is so powerful. It really is. Yeah.
Okay, so we do have a couple questions, and I know I wanted to keep this to a half an hour, so we'll we'll jump right in. So Kathy says, how can you manifest what you want while focusing on your current reality?
Yeah, that's a great question, Kathy. So many things, many answers to this. One is that statement of how can I? So, for example, I can't, instead of saying the opposite as an affirmation, I can, which feels fake because you don't think you can, then you change it to a question of how can I, because then you're opening it up to ideas. So that's number one. Number two is, and I mentioned this before, but I really want to pull this piece of wisdom out for you guys, is it comes from the feeling place. So even though you don't have what you want now, write out what you want to manifest. And I would do this in all the areas of your life, not just your business, but get really specific about your home, your health, your finances, your relationships, your community, your friendships, spirituality, giving back, travel, creative projects, all those things. Get really specific and write in the present tense as if it's already happened. However, when you're talking on a daily basis, you're not going to talk in the present tense. But this is just for setting intentions and writing it out. And then when you've written out all the things that you want, then it's how am I going to feel when I have all those things? So in specifically, like when I'm healthy or in my body or whatever with my team members, and then how can I feel that way now? So I might not be, have all those things or have that, home that I want, but how will I feel secure and, safe and abundant and expansive or whatever it is, right? What can I do now to help me feel that way? I mean, it could be a small thing. It's like, well, actually working out makes me feel really good. What is it that's going to shift your vibration? Because everything is connected. It's like a triangle. If you were to move one side, like shorten one side, the other side would get longer. I can't really show you that with my hands right now. Screen. But my point is it's all connected. So I think that's a great way, is first setting your intention, writing in the present tense, because the universe is a yes universe and it all happens now. It's not I want or I will, because it puts it out into the future, or it's another reinforcement that you don't have it when you say I want it in an intention. So it's all in the present tense, but then focusing on what activities can I do now to allow me to feel the way I want to feel. And there's always some small step that you can take right now. So yeah.
Okay, awesome. Okay, one more question, and then we'll set you free. What would be one thing you've written in your journal that maybe we wouldn't expect? Ooh,
God, what? Ooh.
That's a tough one, Amy.
God, I don't know. That's such an interesting question that you wouldn't expect that I wrote down. I don't know. I can't really answer that. I mean, I feel like I write down my intentions. I write down my gratitude. You're welcome, Kathy. I, Yeah, I mean, I write everything in my journal. I think a journal is so great. Like, you don't have to just write intentions and gratitude and, proud statements. Like, write out all of your thoughts. Maybe that's surprising, is that like you can write when you're pissed off or feeling whatever. That's my whole, you don't have to be positive all the time thing. Like, allow that safe space to get things out of your head. Because I find what happens, not just to me, but to my clients or people, in my life, is that they keep repeating the same story in their head over and over again because they haven't gotten it out. And it's like, get it out on paper, and then it doesn't have to live in your head anymore. So
I love that.
yeah, I think that might be the surprising thing, is like, just get your thoughts out of your head, and who cares, whatever it is. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, something that I would be grateful for. You're clarifying it. Gosh, I don't know. Okay, what that they wouldn't expect me to be grateful for. Well, I think the practice is gratitude for the obstacles. So that's because you're not going to be, of course, it's obvious when you're grateful for, the things that are going well in your life, but the practice and what's going to shift you is that when things don't go well, is that you find gratitude in that situation.
A learning opportunity.
Yeah. So I think that would be my main thing. I mean, I just got back from a trip to Nigeria where we have our school, and there were a few days staying in the house where my love grew up in Lagos. There's no, the electricity goes out for like 4 hours a day. And there, we had to do air conditioner. I mean, just like all these things. Like at one point, the water pressure wasn't working because there's no plumbing in all of Nigeria. You have to pay for it yourself. It's not like a central
Wow.
thing. It's really messed up. But anyway, my point is, so then the water was turned off, so we had to take bucket showers. And I was like, okay, I'm really grateful, to like for these. First of all, there were people at the house who were helping us, and I was finding the gratitude. Okay, like, and then it made me so grateful coming home or going to the fancy hotel, afterwards.
Mhm.
Like, God, these simple things that we take for granted. I'm so grateful, that I have clean water and that just comes out of my tap, and you know, um,
Yeah.
all those things. So yeah, I mean, I get that
Wow.
perspective.
Wow, you've just done so much and seen so much. I love it. So if anybody wants to follow you, we're going to share the link for Jen because she's worth following, guys. She's really interesting and has an interesting life and definitely can teach a lot. As far as the mastermind goes, Jen's going to be doing 2 sessions within the 6 months. They're going to be spaced out where she's actually going to get us to do work. So it's not just her talking to us. It's like we actually have to sit down and we have to do the work. And then she's kind of going to check in on us in the second session and see how it goes. So it's going to be really good. We're going to remove some of those barriers, some of those limiting beliefs, and start manifesting the kind of business and life that we want. So I'm super excited that you're going to be part of that. Thank you in advance because I know it's going to be great. And I think we'll call it a day. So thank you so much. It's 3:33 here. Um, so I think that's pretty good timing.
I love it. So perfect. It was so much
Yeah.
fun to be with you guys. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.